everyone, and welcome to the KukieKnits podcast. My name is Ira and I'm your host here, and I'm a knitter, a cross stitcher and a quilter coming to you from beautiful Sydney, Australia. I mostly knit, and this is my podcast where I show you all of the stuff that I make. I'm also available on Ravelry and Instagram as KukieKnits, and I'm really active on those platforms. I think this is episode 24. We're on episode 24. It's a chilly but bright and sunny day in Sydney, and I have a thing to go to later, and I figured it was the perfect time to film a little episode because I haven't filmed anything in 3 months. I think the last one I had a look, was early February, so it's been a while. Considering how long it's been, I actually don't have that many things made because I've been working a lot on some long-term works where I've made some progress, but I haven't finished it. So I feel like I don't have that many things, but I think I'm using up a bit of yardage, which is good. Let's get started. So my first finished object is what I'm wearing. This is the Seaborn tee by Hanna Lubben. Hanna is also known as Herb Garden Knitwear on Instagram, and this is not the first time that I've made this pattern. I've knit this before for my friend, and when I bought yarn for her, I also bought yarn for me. This yarn is Belle. It's a DK weight, so an 8-ply summer content yarn. It's a blend of cotton and linen and viscose, and it's really, really affordable, and you do get what you pay for. There is occasionally flaws in the yarn and knots in the yarn, though I have used other much more expensive plant fiber yarns that have more knots. I think the colors as well across dye lots can really vary, but I really like knitting with it, and I really like wearing this yarn. I have a few things that I've made in it before, so I don't have any problems with this yarn. The white is white, and then the green is called mossy green, and I love this shirt. I just feel so like clean because the white is so crisp and like fun in it, and I love this collar pattern that's on the bottom of the lace as well as on the bottom of the shirt. So it's knit bottom up. The pattern comes with pick and choose between the bust circumference and the arm circumference, and you have to do some very minor calculations, like just subtracting like 7 or something. If you are like me and like to print patterns, I would highly recommend you actually go through the pattern first and see what pages you need to print. It is quite a long pattern, but there's a lot of stuff in there that if you're not a very new knitter, you might not need, like instructions on German short rows and the needle size and the gauge and all that stuff takes up a whole page. So if you're like me and you like to print out patterns, just have a quick little check and edit, otherwise you'll be printing out a lot of pages. What else? The pattern recommends that you cast on with the tubular cast on. I am definitely in the camp of people that doesn't take cast-ons, cast-offs, or even yarn recommendations as Bible. I know lots of knitters who will only knit stuff with the recommended yarn and do the cast-off they recommend. I like to tend to just choose the one that I like, and try and find yarn that's more accessible or usually most of the time cheaper for the patterns I like to knit. But in this case, I would put in the effort to do the tubular cast on because it just gives the cutest like scallopy effect. And I've seen people who've cast on with like a German twisted or something. It just doesn't look the same. So if you like the look of the lace, I would actually knit the lace as it's recommended with the cast on that's recommended. And actually the tubular cast on doesn't take that long. I don't mind doing it. I just prefer the German twisted cast on. And then I am also thinking of eventually knitting a single color version of this. I have some yarn in like either light pink or light purple. I'm still sort of have open possibilities that I might use that yarn for something else, but so far currently I'm thinking of making a single color version in those yarns, or one of those yarns. And then the next finished object I have is a couple of baby knits. My friend that went to uni with me, she told me that she was having a little baby girl, which is very exciting. And she also happens to be a knitter, so of course I had to make the baby something. So the first thing that I knit was this cute little baby cardigan. This is knit in, let me see, I think it's about a 1 year size. And this is the Oh Baby Cardi by Roberta Rich, and it's a free pattern on Ravelry. I used my leftover yarns. This is Bendigo Woolen Mills Tweed in the colorway Old Rose, and this is an 8-ply, a DK weight yarn. It's really nice and soft, and it barely used any yarn, and it got some scraps out of my stash, so that's great. And I even had the buttons left over from a cardigan that I did for my mother-in-law. I only had 2 left, so I changed the pattern a little bit to just have 2 buttons instead of 3 or 4. I don't know how many it recommends. And the cardigan has got ribbing, button band, which you knit as you knit in one piece, so there's no picking up stitches. I did change a little bit of stuff. I have knit this before as a gift knit for babies. It's sort of a classic go-to pattern for me. The instructions for the bottom ribbing, they're weird. It made a really weird, it's not ribbing. I don't know what, I can't recall what the pattern looked like on the bottom, but in this one, I changed it to just be normal ribbing. And it just recommends 4 rows. However, mine kept flipping up, so I had to go undo the cast on and add a few more rows. And I also added a few more rows into the cuff. And isn't it the cutest, sweetest little thing? Okay, so that's the first one. And the second one that I knit was this little baby dress. Oh my God! It's a little bit creased from being folded, but you can see it has cute little ruffles just from the creases. So I knit this in Bambini 4-ply in the colorway 117, and this is the Meadow flower dress by Anne-Kirsti. I can't read my own handwriting. Espenes. It's a free pattern on Hobby, and on the bottom it has this cute little flower lace detail. The pattern, it actually took a little bit of time to knit because it's 4-ply, and the chest is done in like 2.5 millimeter ribbing, single ribbing. Why is it so bright? Oh yeah, you can see that way better. So this is one of those Superwash Merino yarns that has quite a few twists, and this is the first time that I've ever noticed a difference in my gauge and my tension between knitting in the round and knitting in the flat. And this is why I don't like knitting with super bouncy merino, because I feel like the tension goes into the stretch of the yarn rather than the yarn in this stitch. But I can see a clear difference between the ribbing where I started flat versus in the round, and it's actually more noticeable in the inside. Like, can you see that? There is so much talk about you know, people always recommending that you switch to continental because it's faster and blah blah blah. I'm an English thrower, and I'm a pretty fast knitter anyways, but I feel like if I changed how I knit, I'd become so slow and get so frustrated. But the advantage of English throwing is that your pearls are never, you know, like, you don't have rowing out issues, you don't have knitting from flat to, well, I don't have rowing out issues, I don't have issues when I change from knitting in the round to knitting in the flat, except if I use Superwash Merino. Does it matter? It's going to be on the, this is a 6-month size, because it's a Christmas dress. My friend lives in the Northern Hemisphere, she's going back home for Christmas. I can't even remember if I said that, because I'm talking about the tension, and I've forgotten everything I've ever said, because I'm irritated. No, it doesn't matter. It's gonna be a cute little baby, and the thing will be stretched out. Like you really can't see it, but I know that it's there. I know my tension is weird, and I don't like it. So that's the Meadow flower dress. This pattern was really weird. So it's a free pattern from Hobby. It came with a bonnet and the dress pattern, and then there were two lace charts in there. One was like chart A, and then one was chart B, and this was chart A, and then the bonnet had the same chart, and chart B wasn't anywhere in the pattern. So I don't know why there was another chart. So I just knitted without using chart B, and it looks exactly like the pattern picture. So I don't know what's going on. Those are my other finished projects. And then the next one is this. This is the Colourblocked tee. No, what am I saying? Colourblocked ribbed socks by Summer Lee from her book The Sock Project. And I have knit this in the Three Cats Yarns colorway Graffiti. So I love this colorway. I bought it when I did a yarn swap with somebody a couple of years ago, Marina from the Strawberry Patches podcast, and I really loved how it looked, and I gave the same yarn as birthday gifts to my two friends, and we did a little sock knit along where we were knitting different socks but using the same pattern. And I love how cute this is. I'm so happy with it. It was a struggle to finish it because I completely lost my sock knitting mojo. I think last time I showed you guys I was still on the cuff, and I was still on there forever until I was like, this is ridiculous. And then for my knitting group meetups, I was taking the sock so that I was forced to work on it. And it's finished, and I don't have a sock cast on because I'm not in the mood at the moment. However, it got really cold in Sydney this past week, which is sad, but at least the sun's out today. It's also been raining a lot. And whenever it's winter, I usually tend to want to wear socks, then which makes me want to knit socks. I assume that the sock knitting is going to be back any second. And then my last finished object is the Kerr sweater by Rebecca Clow. She's also known as Kriya Bea here on YouTube and on Instagram. And I knit it for my friend Anne. I'll pop a picture in. So this is also not the first time that I've knit this pattern. I'm actually quite chuffed that I'm getting so much use out of my patterns. You know, like using up scrap yarns and stuff is great too, but kind of I love reusing patterns or using patterns out of books I have. I'm going to try to, so that I'm also kind of not just buying patterns unnecessarily. So this is the Kerr sweater for my friend. The pink is Alpine from Bendigo Woollen Mills in the colorway Pink Heat. This is a discontinued yarn. It has a little bit of alpaca in it. And then the gray, which is the contrast, is Rustic in Misty, also from Bendigo Woollen Mills, which is also a discontinued yarn. Bendigo Woollen Mills in the middle discontinued all of their non-superwash yarns. However, they brought back Rustic. I'm pretty sure it's the same base, but Tweed. And I have some to show you guys later, because me and my friend Em from Miss M Vintage, she's here on YouTube, we have been kind of on the verge of, well, at least I was. I don't think Em is as bonkers as me, of like conducting like a campaign to comment on Bendigo stuff that we want more non-superwash yarn, and then they brought Rustic back. And her and I both are on a low buy, and we're like, oh damn, but now we're gonna have to get some. However, I have a life hack, and I have some Rustic in my stash, and I didn't buy any of it, which I'll tell you guys during the acquisitions. I'm skipping ahead. So, I knit this for Anne. I've already given it to her. It fits her great. I love the low contrast. It looks so good. I have almost a whole sweater quantity of the pink still left, so I'll have to make something for myself, and I have a little bit more of the Rustic, so maybe something color work for me in the same colors. And what did I do? So the one that I knit before was the same pattern, but I knit it for my husband, so I actually had to change up quite a lot of things. This one I kind of just knit as it was written, which was great, and because I hate doing calculations. I did not do a folded collar. I just did a flat collar, and the pattern says to do 2x2 ribs, but I did a 1x1 rib because I prefer the Italian cast off. So that's what I did. It looks great. She's very happy. That should be all of my finished projects. Okay, then we're moving on to our works in progress, my whips. I've casted on just a couple more things. I'm still trying to keep the number of whips I have under control. I did not enjoy the last couple of years where I kept casting on stuff and then just had a million whips. So the first thing that I'm making is, oh, I'm so excited, the Tonight Top by Lily Kate France. If you have watched me before, you know I love Lily. So it's her sort of sleeveless, high neck, Princess Diana, black inspired, like black turtleneck, sleeveless turtleneck inspired design. It also has double knitted armholes. Oh my god, I can't find any words today. I'm so out of practice. So I already was excited about the design, but the yarn. This is Woollen Works Barbie yarn that I bought last year, and this is in the colorway Weird Barbie. I wanted a statement yarn, and statement it is. So I only have 2 skeins, so because I needed to alternate skeins once I joined in the round. The part in the beginning where I didn't alternate skeins, the speckles are really good, and then actually even with alternating, I'm noticing a little bit of pulling in the speckle, but honestly, it's the brightest yarn. Like, you are not going to be looking at any details on this because your eyes are blind. I did the collar and the armhole first, so then I can use the rest of the yarn and just finish the body. The yarn feels really soft. It's a 100% superwash, and this was also a limited edition yarn. It's so cute. I love it. I can see this being a wardrobe staple for me. I love wearing really bright colors. It's actually funny, at work I only wear black, and sometimes when people see me outside of work, they're like, oh, because they don't recognize me. Anyways, it is wool, and I'm not planning to wear this as a summer garment or warm weather garment in any way, shape or form. This will be to wear under jackets in winter. And it's going to be so cute. Just imagining like a trench and like black pants and this wow of a color. Beautiful Tonight Top by Lily Kate France. And then the next thing that I'm making is again me reusing a pattern that I've already made before. I'm remaking the Vakka vest by Susanna Kaartinen. Her name is Susanna Kaartinen, but on Instagram it's Sanna & Co. And she's a Finnish-born designer, but she's based in Australia. I test knit this design for her, and it's from the Liner limited edition Finnish knits. So I test knit the Vakka design for her. It's this basket weave dress, and it has this beautiful cross like cable design on the edge, and a really, really nice what's the thing where the hem has a front and a back, like a split hem, I'm getting there. There we go. That's the cable, and a really nice deep V-neck. So I'm making this out of the leftovers of my Guernsey Genza. I'm using Knit Picks Wool in the Andes yarn in the colorway Lake Ice Heather, and I'm actually knitting this for my sister. So I had asked for 12 balls of this yarn for my Christmas present a couple of years ago, and my mother-in-law definitely ordered 12, but they sent 21. So I had 9 balls extra. So when my sister was here, I showed her the yarn, asked her if she wanted something, and she said yes, and she chose this design. And the side cable feature is so cute. I wonder if I'll have enough left to make one for me as well out of the 9 skeins. Probably not. Let's see. So this yarn is a 10 ply yarn. It's a worsted weight, and then the design is written for 8 ply, but when I knit it, because it's knit on 4.5 and it has the basket weave, so between the knits and the purls, like my 8-ply version was quite gappy, so I didn't even gauge swatch. I'm just knitting the same size that I knit for myself in this yarn for my sister, and I was planning to sort of just having it on the side as a relatively long-term project, but like I said, it got really cold in Sydney, and it got really cold in Melbourne, and my sister was saying how she doesn't have enough work appropriate, you know, knitwear, so I feel bad, and I'm just going to speed knit it and send it to her so she can be warm and toasty in her little vest at work. Is there anything else about that design? I remember when I was doing the test knit, I really lost count of the different increases for the V and the different increases for the armhole, and then how many rows was different for each, I think. Like, I remember being really confused and needing a piece of paper, so I will let you know if it still is like that for me in the final draft of the pattern, because of course I did work out of a beat up pattern, and we shall see how it goes. But I did manage it one time, so surely I can manage it now. And then my next work in progress is the Skye by Marie Wallin. So excited. So I'm knitting this in Knit Picks palette, which is their 4-ply. The gray is Mist, and then the blue is Ciel. So this pattern is knit bottom up. I have done the body. Oh my god. Okay. Ooh, I have done the body. And then I put this on hold the stitches, and I cast on for the little sleeve. And then I haven't touched this pattern in about a month because I had my family coming to visit. It was a really exciting trip. Both my sisters were here, my sister's partner was here, and then my husband also came along with us to Melbourne, and we had a really nice, like, once in a decade sort of family vacation. So I knew that I wasn't going to be knitting anything this complicated where I need to read each row on a chart. So I kind of just put it away, and I haven't picked it back up yet, but I should be able to now because I don't have anything that I'm using a chart reader for. This is gonna be so good. Oh, it's looking so good. I've added a little bit of length to the body, and with the bottom up ones I'm always unsure of how much length to add, and you also have a problem in this case, especially I'm worried about it how it's going to be in the sleeve with the repeats. So I don't know, I'm going to measure the body and then sort of measure how far down those repeats go, and instead of starting the sleeve bottom from the beginning of the chart, I think I'm going to measure how much extra length I need, because you can't finish at a different repeat to where you finish this one, because there's a few rows of cable where you have to knit in the whole body. It has to be on the same row, but I could start on a different row, so in case my arm is longer than, like, or shorter than an exact repeat. So if I need half a repeat, I might just start in the middle. So decisions to be made. I haven't knit on this in a while, so I'll pick it back up. And then my next work in progress, where I've actually done quite a lot of work, because this is really easy knitting and it's cold enough to sort of have it on my lap. This is my Sweetshop blanket by Laura Penrose, and she's not the knitting pickle anymore, is she? Penrose knits. So I'm knitting this for my queen size bed. That's the bottom. Okay, hang on. Yup. It's not even close. So I'm on my 9th row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, this is the 9th row. And I think I need to do 13 rows. Initially I thought maybe I need 14, but now I'm thinking 13. So I've done a couple of rows since the last time you guys saw me. And I am motivated to finish this year, you guys. So the yarns, most of them are Holst. super soft, because I actually made an advent for myself 2 Christmases ago, so it's been 2 years. And the contrast is Bendigo, something with a H. It's also a limited edition. The colorway is River Sand. I can't remember the name of the yarn. And it's mostly wool with a touch of mohair. But I bought it specifically because it had this sort of rainbow tweed look, which I thought would go well with the rest of the colors. The new Rustic Tweed that they have brought out has a similar shade. So if you like how it looks, and if you don't mind Superwash yarn, they have a cream or a beige base with rainbows. They also have other colors with rainbow tweed in it, and it's really, really cute. This is my Sweetshop blanket by Laura Penrose. And then my last whip. God, carrying that blanket around is a workout. My last whip is my cross stitch. I have done quite a lot. I think I had done about that much last time you guys saw me. And this is a painting by Klimt called Lady with a Fan. And I get my patterns from the Art of the Stitch, and I will link it all down below. And that's how much I've done. It's looking so good. My favorite part of doing cross stitch, I always put in this black thread grid, and I put red for the edges and for the center. I love when I finish like a whole section and then I pull the grid out, and then you can see the clean, crisp cross stitch without the grid. It actually motivates me. Once I start pulling the grid out, I'm like all right, I'm gonna finish the next one so that I can pull the grid out. But isn't that looking good? That's so happy. I don't think this one's gonna take me the whole year. I think I'll finish it because I've been very motivated to work on it, and it's super fun, and it's a lot easier than my last cross stitch project because, as you can see, there's quite big chunks of color, so it's not as finicky. That's all of the whips that I've been working on. Not too many. I have basically 2 main whips, and the Skye, which I haven't touched, and the blanket, which I barely count in the whip because it just sits in a basket. And then coming up to my acquisitions. Okay, acquisitions. I am on a self-imposed low buy, no buy. I think it's so interesting how a lot of people are. I think that's just the conversation at the moment. I'm mostly hearing about conversation, and I like doing makeup, in the makeup zeitgeist, also about overconsumption. And I've never had any sort of, I don't know, guilt around how much wool I own, because I know I'll be knitting till the day I die. So, but I actually do feel a bit bad about how much makeup I own, so I'm trying to finish that stuff. However, with yarn, the main reason why I wanted to do a low buy is because I have branched out into a little bit more hobbies, and I am knitting a lot more complicated knitting and smaller gauge knitting than I used to. So my speed of knitting is not matching up with my speed of buying yarn. And there's a lot of stuff in my queue and beautiful yarn I have that I really want to use. So I want to focus a year, maybe even 2 years, try to get some of that out of stash so that I can make room for more new yarn that I can love and new patterns I can love. The only exceptions that I had stated was because I really wanted to get Bendigo Woollen Mills Whisper when it came out, which it did, and any gifts or any yarn for gift knits. So the red yarn in the baby knit, the dress, I had to buy it because I didn't have anything that I could remotely make. A 4-ply in that quantity, and Superwash, I just didn't have any. So I bought it, and Bendigo Woollen Mills re-brought out Whisper, which is the 100% Superwash yarn, in March. I had intended to get this hot pink shade called Scarlet, which I saw in their color card last year, and Espresso, which was the really lovely cool tone chocolate brown yarn that I had used to make my younger sister knit. They did not bring out Espresso. But, you know, I bought a different colorway instead. So I bought 2 sweater quantities of Bendigo Woollen Mills Whisper. The first one is this shade. I should have opened the packages. So this is the colorway Scarlet. That's the colorway I wanted. And if you're looking at this and saying, Ira, in what universe does this look hot pink? It's a really interesting color. It looks really red in some lights and quite like pink. I think it's like a pink based red. But I was confused when I opened it because I remember it being a hot pink. I know what happened. Let me get the color card. So this was the original color card for Whisper when it first came out. And the placement of the Scarlet right next to a sort of maroon colorway called Cherry, which is actually the other colorway I ended up getting, it makes it look really hot pink. But by itself, it's really red. Isn't that such a trick of the eye? So I bought Cherry as well. And like, the camera is not quite catching it, but it literally looks hot pink when it's next to Cherry. But actually, I'm quite happy with the scarlet color anyways. I'm dying to make a red cardigan, so I'm thinking of making another Calm Down cardigan by Lily Kate France, because this is an 8-ply in the scarlet colorway. And I don't really have any ideas for Cherry. I'm actually thinking of redoing one of my friend Vera's knits. I need to check the yardage. The SEO Trot, I knit it in a turtleneck and with a mohair and a 4-ply, and I never wear it because I find the mohair itchy, especially if I'm warm, and I'm never cold enough to wear a turtleneck mohair jumper here. So I'm thinking of making a shorter collar, just 8-ply wool version in this lovely color Cherry. So those are the two Whisper purchases that I made. This, I cannot get over the, honestly, this color looks so strange. But it's definitely a red. It's definitely a red. It's called Scarlet. Okay, and then the next thing I got is this fun knitter's handbook. I found this at Savers when I was in Melbourne for $4.49. And it's a really useful sort of just instruction booklet on almost any technique you can think of. Reinforced eyelets, different types of buttonholes, different types of cast-ons, picking up stitches, how to put beads in, color work knitting, different types of cables. I don't know when this is from. Kind of looks like the 80s from the way that the 1988. But it was first published in paperback in 2001. So it's probably a later edition, but the book was written in 1988, which I can believe because a lot of the style of the jumpers in the pattern are very 1988. You know? Oh, it even has this fun little, like, textured. Do you guys know that knitter called Ranty Knitwear, where she has a whole jumper in this sort of textural 3D stuff? And a lot of information on washing and hand washing. I don't know if you guys are in the knitwear zeitgeist, because I don't know if it's the Australian knitting community. I hear a lot of, I used to never block. I knit for 60 years. We never blocked anything. My mom only used this cast on. What are these newfangled cast on? Blah, blah, blah. And like, this book is from the 80s and it very clearly states blocking. It's just so interesting reading this book. And, you know, it has all of the newfangled American techniques that are entering the Australian knitting space. Like, they're not American techniques. There's the twisted German cast on right there. It's just, I don't know why people are so opposed to kind of learning new things. I love learning new things, especially in knitting. I want to learn all the things I can. There's a tubular cast on. So actually this book is going to be very helpful for me. Maybe it'll help me find a few cast offs for different types of ribbing that are nice and flexible, so I can find something. Oh, interesting. There's I-cord, and there's the pinhole cast on. So knowledgeable. It has everything you can think of. So I'm very happy with it. Ooh, I'm getting distracted by the cast offs. Okay. Knitter's Handbook. And then I also bought two. So obviously the Nordic finished knits, because I'm knitting out of it. And liner finished knits and liner Nordic knits. And I have test knit a pattern from each book for Susanna, Sanna and Co. And I felt like I should have a copy because I really like the designs. I like color work. I kind of like the vibes of these ones. I'm very happy with it. And then my last acquisitions, I mentioned before about Bendigo Rustic Tweed. And they actually brought it out like a week after they brought out Whisper, which I was like, if I had to choose between buying Rustic and Whisper, I would have actually bought Rustic. However, they brought it out the week before my birthday. So what did I do? I asked for yarn for my birthday. I asked for a sweater quantity of Rustic Tweed and 4-ply. So that's the thing I really enjoyed about the new release of Rustic, is that they brought it out in different weights. 4-ply, 8-ply, and 10-ply. So fingering, DK, and worsted weight. Because all of their limited edition yarn is always 8-ply. And it irritates me because I want to knit more 4-ply. So I got Rustic Tweed in the colorway Evergreen, and this is going to be for the body of a colorwork sweater. And then I got in the colorway Driftwood for the colorwork contrast. I love this green. It's so beautiful. Beautiful. So that was from my mother-in-law. And then my friend Anne offered to get me a sweater quantity. So I was talking to her about how I was umming and eyeing over. I didn't want to ask for 2 sweater quantities. Do I just want to buy one? I don't want to break my no buy. And then she offered to buy me a sweater quantity for my birthday. So this is Rustic Tweed in the colorway Wild Violet. I cannot with the beautiful tweed flex. Like, are you kidding me? So gorgeous. This is also 4-ply, and I have a sweater quantity of this. And in return for her buying me the sweater quantity, so Anne, my friend that I knit the Kerr sweater for, she also knits, but it's not her main hobby. So it takes her a long time to finish patterns. And we always joke about how I'm a blue person and she likes, I'm a pink person, she's a light blue person. So we kind of always end up buying pink yarn and blue yarn. So Rustic also came out with this rainbow tweed light blue, which I knew was straight up an A street. However, she's doing a similar thing where she's not buying yarn because she's actually not using up a lot of it. She's on the verge of finishing her blanket though, so that's exciting. So in return for the violet, I said that if she wanted a plain stockinette 8-ply jumper in this blue yarn, I would knit it for her if she bought it. So she bought this yarn, and it's in my stash because I'm going to knit. I'm probably thinking the Louvre sweater by Petite Knit in this beautiful yarn. It's gorgeous. I kind of want some of it as well, but you know, I'm never going to get through my yarn stash if I keep adding sweater quantities of Bendigo yarn. And then also, okay, all of this happened when I had already asked what yarn I wanted from my husband. So I could have also asked him for Rustic, but I didn't because I bought a D-stash yarn. I've been dying to make the tulip loop sweater, and that sweater is in 8-ply. No, Aran weight, so almost a heavy 10-ply. And I don't tend to wear much Aran weight because it's way too warm. However, I love that sweater, so I figured, you know, I'd buy a nice yarn. I'll make it not too, like, I think it has a folded collar, not a folded collar, a single collar, make it nice and comfortable. And one of my friends was selling this gorgeous Aran weight yarn from Debbie Bliss, the Bendigo Luxury Tweed Aran. And this is 90% wool, 10% Angora. Oh, it smells like it still has a bit of oil in it. Oh my god, that smells beautiful. Okay, I actually haven't even looked at this yarn. So it's this gorgeous wine color with slightly red flecks, but also different colored tweed. Can you see how I'm having a tweedy vibes? So this was the yarn, and she had listed the color as red. I actually don't know if she watches my podcast, because it's okay, mistakes happen. She had listed the color as red, and the whatever the color number was for red. And I bought the yarn, and then I realized I'm like just a touch under the yarn requirements. And usually the sort of Scandinavian sweaters are huge. Like I could have made it, I was thinking maybe I'll make it a little bit more snug or a touch shorter. And because this yarn is discontinued, and I absolutely love this color. So I was rifling around on Ravelry, and I see this lady who's also got some. I actually only have peeped in there because I couldn't even look in there. So she had some in Australia in the colorway red, really reasonably priced, and I was like, you know what? I might as well get the extra yarn and make sure my jumper fits the way I want it to fit. So I'm looking at the color, and it looks quite different, but you know how colors photograph differently. I do that all the time. My stuff looks a lot darker. So the yarn comes in. So this yarn is actually red. This yarn is the color wine, but it's been mislabeled by my friend on Ravelry. So now I'm back to square one, where I don't know what to do with this yarn. I'll probably still try and eke it out, because I was like, oh, if the color is quite similar, I could do the cuffs in this, but it's just not. I think there's enough to make a little Aran weight vest for me for work out of the red, because I really like the yarn, but this is the color that screamed out to me. So this is the one that I will be thinking about what to do with the tulip loop. Just another day in a yarn enthusiast's life. Sometimes you play the D-stash game and you get burnt. I didn't really get burned. It's just I wanted a little bit more leeway with the yardage, but we shall see. I'm sure I can make it work. I don't know. Maybe I'll just work out and lose weight so I can knit a smaller size in the fit I want. That should be it. That's all of my many yarns going into my stash. All of it. So I better start knitting like the wind. Are you guys doing a no-buy this year? Let me know. What are your thoughts? Low buy? I don't know if I tend to restrict myself, saying that I'm not going to buy yarn. I definitely won't stick to it. But I'm pretty good with restricting. And I've definitely found that unfollowing, and I feel a bit shit because of course I want to support the businesses and support the hand dyers. But I found that sort of unfollowing them, or at least muting them from my homepage and not seeing all the latest releases, like I literally don't even kind of feel like buying other yarn other than the Bendigo ones, but I'm only human. So thanks so much for joining me. Hopefully I'll get some knitting done and I'll be back a little bit quicker than 3 months, though it's exactly what I said last time, and it's been exactly 3 months again. So bye.